And last year, I was proud of our guys because we had some injuries, we had some illnesses, and we still fought. We were able to go to the Sweet 16, win the Big Ten tournament, but we were injured. But that's part of the game. They don't put an asterisk next to your team when you have injuries, because when you beat other people that have injuries, when you get that win, you don't walk in the locker room and say, you know what, we beat them, but they were injured. No, you just say you beat them, and that win counts, and you go take your shower and get your pizza and get on the bus, and that's that. But when you lose, what do we all say? That's human nature. Yeah, but if we would have had Rob Hummel, we'd have beat you. Well, we didn't have Rob Hummel, or we didn't have Chris Kramer, and they weren't there, and that's part of it. And I think you've got to make sure your guys understand that, because the guys that normally back up, not normally, the guys that back up are mad they're backing up. You know, it's like anything in life. You have a boss, you say, hey, if I was in charge, I'd do A, B, C. When in reality, you're not in charge, all right? Same thing for a backup. You're not getting those minutes, but if somebody gets injured, you're going to get those minutes. And if you don't have a clear head and you're not thinking about those things and preparing yourself for those things, when you do get that opportunity, you're not going to be as successful as you should be. And then our guy that's behind Rob Hummel is not Rob Hummel. He's a good guy, but he's not Rob Hummel in terms of his skills. And so now you have to learn from that and grow from that. I think the one thing that jumps out for us is, I think a star emerged for us when Rob Hummel went down in Juwan Johnson. When you look at the silver lining of that, he had 30 points at Ohio State. He went from a guy that we used to say, be careful to throw him the ball in these situations or these areas, to now throw him the ball every chance you get. And I think that's something we talked about with Carl Landry. We had a guy on our team, I won't say his name, a couple years ago, and wasn't the brightest guy in the world. Good guy, wasn't the brightest guy. He said, do you really want me to throw the ball to Carl Landry every time? I was... Way to go. We've been practicing for 4 months. I say it every day about 30 times. And yes. Yeah, there we go. How did you get admitted into Purdue? I think we can get in trouble on this one. And so sometimes they don't quite hear the message, even the message, you keep kicking them with the message. And we have to get the ball inside to him. We have some talented guys. Etuan Moore is a 2-time all-conference guy. I don't think people quite realize how good he is. He needs about 50 points to go over 1,000 points. Probably in his second or third game, he'll be able to get that. It's quite an accomplishment for someone going into their junior year. Rob Hummel's a good all-around player. He's a special type of guy because he defers to others. And he's never led a team in scoring in his life. He's always played with some good players, with some good scorers. He's always been consumed with winning. And I think that's contagious. When your best players are guys like that, they're good students. And then Chris Kramer's a guy that gives us some toughness. He's a guy that'll graduate here in the spring, and gives us a guy that can stop people, shut people down. Keaton Grant has really improved, really worked on his game. You know, he will graduate also in the spring. But what we have is, we have 6 guys, counting Lewis Jackson, that all came in and started as freshmen. And I think that is something that is great because of that experience. Now we have a freshman class that is coming in, that now their competition are guys 2-3 years older than them. And so it is different. Whereas 2 years ago, Robbie Hummel's competition was just other people in the program. That was their first year. All of our big guys were brand new at that time. So it is different. The competition is different. And so we do understand, I think, with some roles. I think that's something Coach Katie was good about, is establishing roles, even though I didn't like it at times because I didn't like my role. Because I'd have to pass to Waddell and Conzo Martin and Glenn Robinson. But that was, I think, the right thing to do when you have established scorers, or you have kind of a trio of guys, which we do. And then we can play off of those guys, and we can play inside, outside. We can push the basketball and do a lot of different things. But now these young guys coming into our program are going to be guys that give us depth. But if somebody goes down or somebody gets in foul trouble, they're going to have to be productive. I think that was something Michigan State was great at. Do I think Michigan State was better than UConn? I think that's close. But I think they were deeper than UConn. And when you get into somebody's bench and those guys can't be productive, you're going to have a chance to win in the NCAA tournament, because obviously, you know, you're going to play 4, 5, 6 games. And Michigan State was able to wear UConn down with their depth, with their athleticism. And I think that's something we have to be able to, when we sub, obviously we're not bringing another Juwan Johnson or Rob Hummel off the bench, but we still have to be able to play at a high level. So hopefully, with kind of the maturation of those guys, we can make those improvements. We can get going. As a coach, you don't know, because I'm talking about guys that have never been in the fire before, never played on a Wednesday night or a Saturday afternoon, and it is different. So you get to find out a lot of things in that first month of the season. But we are excited about that. I know we got a series of questions coming up here. We're excited about our schedule. I think we have a schedule that will prepare us for Big Ten play. Then obviously Big Ten play is always going to prepare you for the NCAA tournament. What we tell our guys is you have to get in the NCAA tournament to have success in the NCAA tournament. It's an accomplishment to get in it, and don't ever take that for granted. And you have to work every single day, and that's something that we've really tried to hammer home to our guys. And I think when you have big expectations, it's not 30 years ago where you got to pick up a paper to read about your expectations. It's all around you. It's getting text to you. It's getting an email to you. It's the internet. You're constantly hearing and getting that. And with young people and a byproduct of youth, it will go to your head. And you have to keep them grounded. So our staff does a good job of keeping them grounded and understanding that, we have to work hard just worry about the day. And I think you could take that into the real world. There's so many things going on. If you take your focus off what you're doing at that current moment, you're not going to make improvements and you're not going to get better. And so that's really what we try to get with our guys, to understand that and realize that we have a tough non-conference schedule and we have to prepare for that first and foremost. We play Wake Forest at home. We play West Virginia at home, which I think will be a great game. We play them on New Year's Day, and that'll really get us prepared because I think his teams are some of the toughest in the country and they're going to fight you, and that's what we need to get ready for the Big Ten. We play at Alabama. I mentioned the ACC Big Ten Challenge. We play Wake Forest, and then we're going to play in the Paradise Jam in St. Thomas. Hopefully we play Tennessee's on the other side. I think that would be a good matchup. But Northern Iowa, the team we played in the NCAA tournament, is the 3rd seed, and they're on the other side. But the 4 or 5 seed game is St. Joe's versus Boston College, and then we play South Dakota State. So it is a very, very good tournament. But I think we put that into place. 4 years ago, I got about 10 emails. And after watching our guys, work out that first year when I was an assistant coach, and you want to be positive about your team. Everybody wants to be positive and have that outlook about their life and about their team and everything. And I got these 10 emails from people just saying, "Hey, I don't like your schedule. Your schedule is awful." And I quickly just emailed back to them, "It's all relative. Our team's awful." And thanks for the support. But that's what you do. I felt after that first year and after we went out recruiting for 1 year, it's hard. It's like what Coach Crean's doing down in Indiana. I had about half of that. He didn't have a team. There's no manual to say, hey, let's compete in the Big Ten when you don't have a team in April. And then all of a sudden you're supposed to play in November and accumulate a team and be competitive and win games. It just doesn't work that way. You can't do it. It's a process to it. You have to build. You have to have seniors. You have to have juniors. You have to have sophomores. You have to have freshmen. And then when you have those juniors and seniors like we have right now, they're like assistant coaches. And as your team improves, your schedule improves. And we've been able to do that each year and improve our schedule a year. But our team's also improved. And you have to be careful with that because, you want to build up to that NCAA tournament. And sometimes, your schedule needs to be a little bit less to build that confidence. If you have experienced guys like us, I think you have to have as many challenges on there as possible. Tom Izzo, about 4 or 5 years ago, just stacked his schedule, and he said, I'd never do that again. He was like 6-5 non-conference, and then he ended up going, I think, like 12-4 in the league. But it did prepare him for the league. But he took on a lot of challenges, and then obviously the success they've had in the NCAA tournament. I think you have to evaluate other people that have been successful. I think we've all done that in the business world, having models and reading books about successful people. And you got to learn as much about what to do to reach that for you, and as much as what not to do. If you can learn from other people's mistakes, I think that is key. But most of us have to make our own mistakes to make that next plunge. But we're constantly trying to look at other people, how they handle things, what they do in scheduling, so we can prepare our team, even if that means taking a loss here or there, to be better to help us win the Big Ten or have success in the NCAA. I think those things are very, very important. But once again, thank you for having me. I could sit up here and talk for an hour and a half, and you guys would go to sleep. But we're going to have some interesting questions here, and hopefully I have some interesting answers. All right, thank you.